seconds and counting.
Hey, what's up, guys? Clutch City Entertainment here, back with another video. And today we will be talking about the Houston Texans as the free agency period has just opened today on Monday. And of course, we did have another move over the weekend that we will get to as well. Let's just go over a couple of the signings the Texans have so far. So first, on Saturday, the Texans signed former Rams and Titans wide receiver Robert Woods. He's officially already on the team because he was released prior to free agency, so he does not have to wait all the way up until Wednesday at 4 p.m. Eastern time to be signed. So he is already officially a Houston Texan. And then today, this morning, for the most part, is when the signings kind of happened, right when the tampering period opened. The Texans signed defensive Chase Winovich. He formerly played for the Browns and, most importantly, the Patriots, where he spent a lot of time with Texans GM Nick Caserio. Texans also signed former Eagles and 49ers defensive lineman Hassan Ridgeway. Obviously, he has some experience with D'Amico Ryans being on the Niners from 2022. And then the Texans' first signing of the day was actually Andrew Beck. A lot of people are a little frustrated with the fact that the Texans were signing a fullback / tight end like Andrew Beck with that first signing, but we'll get a little bit more into Andrew Beck and what he's going to bring to the team in a little bit here. Then the Texans signed another former Bronco and Mike Boone, his running back, who's also played for the Vikings. And then the Texans signed former Texans quarterback and U of H legend Case Keenum as presumably their backup quarterback / mentor quarterback kind of guy. You don't expect him to get much playing time. But let's just kind of get into the signings here. First of all, the Case Keenum signing was a 2-year, $6.25 million deal. Don't really have too much to really say about Case Keenum, other than I found this signing to be pretty cool. I like the fact that he's coming back home to Houston, where he spent so much time with the Cougars. A couple years here in the Houston, where you had some really fun moments with Andre Johnson. I just remember that one really long, like 50-yard touchdown past Andre Johnson on Sunday Night Football versus the Colts. Personally, I was at that game, and it was just goosebumps. It was like, wow. And he was a rookie at the time, undrafted rookie. He had put up these crazy stats at U of H, and now he's back here. And I just thought that was pretty cool. The Robert Woods deal is a 2-year, $15.25 million contract. Robert Woods is also someone we're going to be talking about a lot here, is scheme fit. He played in LA with the Rams, so I think is really the most important thing here. He did play for the Bills to start his career, but he played for the Rams under Sean McVay, where he was utilized pretty much how a wide receiver is supposed to be utilized in a West Coast system. He caught balls down the field. He caught balls in the flats. He took end arounds. He took jet sweeps. So he's had carries, he's been a runner before. And that's something that, not really anyone on the Texans has done. Robert Woods and Brandon Cooks played together, but don't expect Brandon Cooks to be on this Texans team. I do expect him to get traded either on draft day or before the draft, or maybe in the next coming days. I expect him to be gone. So adding Robert Woods kind of fills that void, and it's also a really solid scheme fit and someone who's going to be productive in a West Coast scheme. The Chase Winovich deal was a 1-year deal worth $2.75 million. He's not the best pass rusher. He only had 1 sack this past year, but he's a really good run stopper. Something about those Michigan DNs, that's where he went to college. He's tough, he's smart, he's gritty. He's going to be a good run defender, and that's something that the Texans needed, considering the fact that they were one of the worst run defenses in the past 2 years. Mike Boone was signed on a 2-year deal worth $3.1 million, which I might say is kind of a steal. I know he did get injured at the end of this season, when he was filling in for Javonte Williams and kind of was giving the starting role for a little bit there. He is also another scheme fit, in my opinion, because he played in Minnesota, where we're kind of running a little bit of a West Coast scheme there, and in Denver as well. One of the Kubiaks was there, Clint Kubiak was there, also implementing some West Coast, style stuff there. And that's something, again, that's what Bobby Slowick is going to do. That's probably going to be the Texans' offensive identity, is that West Coast scheme. And so that's something really valuable you get from Mike Boone. Also, his career yards per carry is at 5.2, which is well above the league average. Andrew Beck was signed on a 2-year, $6.25 million deal. Andrew Beck is a really, really interesting prospect to me, just in kind of the terms of how he's utilized. He's listed as a fullback and / tight end for a reason. His raw athletic score out of college was an 8.8. He ran a 4.63 40-yard dash. His grade for his 10-yard split is 9.77 after he ran a 1.56, which is just absolutely crazy for a tight end or fullback. And his composite speed grade is listed as elite. That's something very, very impressive for Andrew Beck, who's played about 4 years in the league. He's still got a lot left in him. And I kind of feel like the Texans have found their, Kyle Juszczyk kind of guy. Kyle Juszczyk he's used in motion. He's used as a fullback as a blocker. He's used as a fullback as a pass catcher. He's put out as tight end as a blocker. He's put out as tight end as a pass catcher. Andrew Beck can do all of those things. And if you can get him in the open field, similar to Kyle Juszczyk, I feel like he can do a lot of damage. And that's something that the Texans don't have because they only had Troy Harrison as their fullback, who's more of a strong, athletic blocker, former tight end in college, who, if we're being honest, doesn't really have the best hands. And that's okay. Doesn't have the best hands. Maybe he can make the team as a blocker. Maybe Andrew Beck will be the tight end, but you're also using him in a fullback tight end role. So I'm not saying Troy Harrison's days are numbered, but Andrew Beck can certainly fill that, West Coast scheme fullback, H-back kind of role. And I think that's something very, very intriguing. It's something that's kind of going to go under the radar when you think of the Andrew Beck signing. And the last signing that we're going to talk about is Hassan Ridgeway, who signed a 1-year deal for $4 million and $3 million fully guaranteed. And, like I said previously, he has some experience playing for D'Amico Ryans, and that's pretty much exactly why he was signed here. The Niners, they were going through some injuries at the defensive line position. Ridgeway was able to get some snaps there, and kind of get some more familiarity with D'Amico Ryans, and that holds a lot of value here, and that's why he was really signed here. He's just going to provide some depth. He's going to be a run stopper. He's going to be a rotational pass rusher. Don't expect too much high upside from him there, but hey, the more 49ers guys you get in the building, I feel like it's just going to form a more cohesive unit. It's good for chemistry. It's good to have some familiarity in the locker room and among coaches and players. And, so that holds some value. If the people are wondering why we got this, lower level defensive tackle, I would say that's why. That's going to be it for today's free agent signings. Keep on the lookout for more Texans free agent signings. Keep your notifications on for Clutch State Entertainment on Twitter and on YouTube, as we're going to keep you guys updated with all the breaking news when it comes to the Houston Texans and free agency news. All right, that's all for today. Peace.